Hello and welcome to the Mathematica tutorial. My name is Shakil Rafi and I'm currently doing my undergrad in mathematics at Troy University. Today I'm going to show you Mathematica and how to go about it. This is the first of a series of tutorials where I will show you the basics and then proceed on to more advanced stuff in Mathematica. This is aimed at people who do not have a background in programming or computer algebra systems in general. It is meant for people who are completely new to Mathematica as a software. Now, first of all, let's begin at the very beginning, right, so to speak. Assume that you do not have Mathematica. As you can see here, I already have it in my system. So let's assume you do not have it, and you'll start by downloading it. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up your favorite web browser, and once it's there, what you do is you would go to wolfram.com. That Wolfram Research is the company that makes Mathematica. So you go to their website, wolfram.com. As you can see here, this is their site. It's pretty neat. Now, what you do is you go to products, and then you have three different versions of Mathematica: Mathematica, Mathematica Student Edition, and Mathematica Home Edition. Now, generally speaking, and it's not the case for all colleges, but generally speaking, your college will have a license for Mathematica where if you're a student of that college, you get to download it from the school servers for free. Now, normally that will happen. Some colleges do it, some colleges don't. Some colleges have something else called Mathematica, which will probably be part of a future series of tutorials. But for now, your college in general may have it. The way you see if it's there is you ask your professor or your advisor, whoever handles this kind of stuff, if the college has a site license. Now, if it turns out that they don't, what you do is you'd go to products and go to Student Edition, which is here. Now, what they'll ask you is they'll ask you for your college email ID. That's just to verify if you're a part of that college. And once done, you can purchase it for a heavy discounted price, about $200, $250-ish. Now, you might be saying $250 is really expensive, but if you were to buy the full, like, professional edition, the full-blown version of it, it would cost like upward of $2,000, which is, for people who can afford it, that's well and good. Now, it's normally used in many different areas like business, government, and other places, so they can afford to buy it for that. Now, if you're an enthusiast or a hobbyist, you can get the home edition, and it costs like per year $149, which is ridiculously cheap if you think about it, like for what you're getting. So assuming that you've somehow managed to acquire that through your college or you just went out and bought it. So here you have Mathematica. Now, I'm running a Mac OS system, Mac OS 10.8 Mountain. Now, if you're on a Windows, like here, I'm just going to click Mathematica. And here you go, it's already been there. So hold on, let me just do it again. Now, if you're on a Windows system, what you do is you click Start and then Mathematica. And if you're on a Mac, what you do is just go to the dock and click Mathematica, or just search for it. Here we have it. Now, you click Mathematica, and it's gonna load. There you go. You'll be greeted to something like this. Now, Bear in mind that I'm not using the latest version of Mathematica. The latest version of Mathematica is Mathematica 9. What I'm running here is Mathematica 8. Now, generally, it's not going to be a problem. Mathematica 9 has added a lot of extra functionality, but for all intents and purposes, Mathematica 8 is more than capable of what I'm going to show you. The functions that are added in Mathematica 9, they're like way too advanced. I mean, you'll probably never even encounter them in your lifetime. I mean, you could, but you probably won't. Now, one feature in Mathematica 9 that Mathematica 8 doesn't have, and that may or may not affect what I'm going to show you, is in Mathematica 9, they have what is called a predictive interface. So as you're typing a function, Mathematica 9 is going to suggest that. Like, it's going to make suggestions of and sort of auto complete whatever function you're going to do. Now, Mathematica 8 doesn't do that. Now, if you know what you're doing, that's not going to be a big problem. And Mathematica 9 is more helpful for people who are completely new to it. It's sort of like a more user-friendly feature. But capability-wise, the Mathematica 8 is almost as good as Mathematica 9, especially for what we're going to do. So once you're greeted with this window right here, what you're going to do is click Notebook, and we're greeted with a blank space. Now, you know how in Microsoft Word, when you save a file, it's saved as a Word document, it's saved as a document. In Mathematica, it is saved as a notebook. Now, what a notebook is basically an empty space here, where you get to type formulas and equations and stuff. Kind of like how in a Word document, what you have is a page where you type words and paragraphs and sentences and all that stuff. Here, you get to type equations and formulas, and you get to draw graphs and a whole lot of stuff. We'll get to that later, and we'll get to the notebook concept later. So this is your first notebook. Now, let's begin. Think of Mathematica as a TI-82, like a scientific calculator, TI, Casio, whatever you use. What it's going to do is you put in stuff and you tell it to sort of crunch those numbers. You give it calculations and it does those, and it shows you the output on this area. Now, let's begin. Let's begin with something really basic. Something that, anyone knows, like, let's say 1 plus 1. So you're asking Mathematica to find out what 1 plus 1 is and show the answer right here. Now, what you'll notice is if you press enter, nothing's going to happen. That's because a calculation might have more than one line. To tell Mathematica to, okay, that's it. That's what I want you to find out. What you do is press shift and then press enter. And there you have it. Now, what I want you to notice very carefully is right here it says IN1 and here it says out2. The way Mathematica looks at it is this is a calculation and this is the output. Whatever you type after it is not necessarily related to it. So IN stands for input 1. So that's the first input that you gave Mathematica, and out comes out 1. That is the first output that you gave Mathematica. So that's really well and good. Let's try something a little bit more complicated. You press 6 and you press asterisk and you press 7. Now, generally speaking, you can enter the multiplication sign, the cross in multiplication, you can enter it, but it's very difficult, and if you type in X instead of multiplication, it's not gonna work out. You see here? There we go. So that's not the answer we want. So it's best to avoid x for multiplication. I'm just gonna minimize that. It's generally inadvisable to use x for multiplication. You're going to use the asterisk sign, the one above 8. So what is 6 times 7? 42. Yep, that's what we wanted. So plus multiplication. Well, let's do subtraction. What's 6 minus 1? It gives us 5. Now notice that every time I'm pressing enter, I'm actually pressing shift enter. You have to realize that. As you can see in the input, like the video is showing the input, you can clearly see that I'm pressing shift enter all the time. So what is 1 minus 6? Negative 5. Okay, so as you can see, Mathematica is very smart. How about division? What is 7 over, like 7 divided by 7? 1, which is very good. So let's do something else. What is 7 divided by 0? And it gives you an error. It gives you complex infinity, an error message. We'll get back to that in a later video. So as you might have expected, it follows the order of operations. So 6 plus 7 times 8. Now what we expect is that it's going to multiply this first and then add the 7. There we go. That's what it does. So it's actually smart enough to know that the bracket precedes any sort of multiplication to begin with. Let's see. We type the same thing, but instead we type in this. So what does it show? 88. It does what's inside the bracket first and then multiplies. So now that you've completed your first notebook, what you want to do is save it, right? So you click File and you click Save. With Save As, you can save to different formats, but we'll get to that later. You click Save, and since I'm on a Mac, it's slightly different than if you're on a Windows. You select where you want to save. Let's say I want to save it to Documents, right? And the file format is Mathematica Notebook. You select *NB and you click Save. Now it's saved. So, and if you want to retrieve that document, you go here, and there we go. You have the untitled 1. You click it. There we go. So that's about it for the first video. I hope to see you in the next few videos where we go to more advanced stuff. Thank you. I'll see you.